Good afternoon. We are approaching 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm Jacob Terrell here from the Terrell Severe Storm Center. I want to get you up to date on the risk for severe weather that we have in place. As a matter of fact, it looks like just as I've been looking at this, I'm just now noticing the Storm Prediction Center appears to be planning to issue a watch, most likely a severe thunderstorm watch, as you can see right here, possibly with in the next hour or so. We'll take a look at that here momentarily. First off, let's take a look at our risk area. We do have a slight or standard risk of severe weather, roughly from western sections of the Great Plains into Colorado, down through the Texas Panhandle, and then all the way over to the Mid-Atlantic states, obviously including the lower Ohio Valley in that. So let's go ahead and take a more in-depth look at these convective outlooks here. And as you can see, here's our risk area. Um, and this is a closer look at the damaging wind threat. And as you can see, 15% is the required criteria for a slight risk area. But you notice that we do have an enhancement here right over central and particularly over central and southern Indiana, an enhanced risk for damaging winds, and that extends through Cincinnati over to Huntington, West Virginia, even towards Charleston, West Virginia. And that is indicating that we could have some damaging winds here, obviously. The way you got to look at this, as I've said before, is 15% basically means a 15% chance of damaging wind gusts within 25 miles of a given point within this area. So let's just look at Indianapolis right here. You can see Indianapolis, let me pull on the counties here. Yeah, Indianapolis is right within, just on the very northern edge of that 30% risk area. Or even better yet, let's do Bloomington. Bloomington's right down here. And as you can see, with Bloomington being in the 30% enhancement, that basically means, at least according to the SPC, there is a 30% chance of damaging winds within 25 miles of Bloomington. So, even though it may be called a slight risk with that enhancement, that's kind of a fairly significant threat. So, I mean, when you think about it, mathematically, 30% chance of damaging winds within 35 miles, 30 miles, 25 miles of areas like Bloomington, Columbus. Obviously, the Mooresville area where I live would be included on that as well. This is what kind of has people buzzing, the hail potential. As you can see, we have a 30% enhancement for hail almost right within the same area. And you also notice these black hatch marks. This is indicating that there could be some, not just some large hail, but perhaps some very large hail, maybe golf ball size or larger than that. And so if the instability is strong enough and we've got, and the camping erodes, especially here in southwest Indiana, we could be looking at some pretty significant hail. Now, I think the best threat, it's hard to say where the best threat of hail is going to be. I think this 30% enhancement is right on the mark. There's a little bit of a cap, as I mentioned, especially in southwest Indiana, and that might kind of inhibit the severe weather potential the further west. But still, anywhere really within the standard risk area, um, even areas not within the 30% risk, could be looking at the potential for large hail and damaging winds. And again, especially right within this area, there could be some hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. The tornado threat, not very significant at all. In fact, it's on the low wind side, only a low wind 2% risk of an isolated tornado, 2% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point within that area. Obviously, the higher tornado probabilities are maxed out well west of here. But still, we're talking about the potential for supercell thunderstorms. There could be at least a low chance for an isolated tornado. I think, though, definitely the bigger threat will be large hail and damaging winds, especially large hail. And as you can see, this is a look at the radar. This is about 1:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Relatively quiet across Indiana. We do have a little shower, it looks like, in the southwestern section of Wabash County. We have a shower, perhaps a thunderstorm that is kind of moving along, heading towards Lafayette, entering northwestern Tippecanoe County. This is kind of where the front is stationed at the point, and that may end up being the best focal point for severe weather. Now, I know you're thinking, well, the best severe weather probabilities were maxed out down across here and not up here. Keep in mind this front is going to be sagging southward throughout the day, and so will these storms. As you can kind of see, they're sagging east, southeast. So perhaps as this front starts to sag further to the south, this these storms will kind of increase in magnitude, and that's when the severe weather threat could really begin to ramp up later this afternoon as the cold front heads to the south. Real quickly, let's go back and take a look at the new mesoscale discussion issued by Storm Prediction Center. This is basically an indication that they are picking up on the severe weather threat, increasing threat, and let's see, wind-driven hail and damaging winds developing. Probability of a watch issuance 95%. That's almost a guarantee that they will be issuing a severe thunderstorm watch. They're saying scattered severe storms are expected to rapidly develop over the next few hours with large hail and damaging winds likely. And so they're expecting supercell thunderstorms to develop, which would make sense. The updrafts within these storms could be pretty large, and there could be some nice looking structure with these things. But again, the threat for severe weather is real. Not a big tornado day by any means. It could be an isolated tornado, yes, but clearly the more significant threat is damaging winds and especially large hail. If you have objects outside or vehicles that are outside, you might want to move those inside, move them into the garage. The last thing you want to do is driving under a thunderstorm that has hail larger than golf ball size. And so just stay weather aware, especially with the significant hail threat that we have. This is going to be a situation where you're going to want to monitor the severe weather situation closely. A lot of the warnings will probably end up being severe thunderstorm warnings versus tornado warnings, but still, again, with the hail threat being significant, you need to take any severe thunderstorm warning or severe thunderstorm watch seriously. Don't just kind of brush it off just because it's not a tornado watch or tornado warning. So we will continue to monitor the threat throughout the day. Keep it right here to the Terrell Severe Storm Center for the latest information.